The program that we have here at Stone Summit, it's a really good way for kids to kind of figure out if this is something that they would like to do, first of all, because climbing isn't for everybody. But it teaches kids a lot about spatial awareness, coordination, and it strengthens the body overall, which a lot of other sports don't really do. It gives you flexibility, core strength, it strengthens the larger muscle groups, and it also strengthens and creates balance with your intrinsic muscle groups, which are like the stabilizing muscle groups for your joints. And you can't really say that about a lot of other sports. So not only is this like a very fun sport to get into, it's just a very good overall healthy way for your child to have fun and not feel like they're being, in a workout kind of environment. And also climbing just teaches you how to problem solve really well. You could look at something and you could be looking at it and saying, I can't do this, or you can change your whole perception of things. And it teaches them a lot about overcoming things that they're afraid of or think that they can't do in general. And that's an important skill for life. I don't know how many other sports that gives you, that kind of feeling, especially if you're like, I can't do something, and then you go and you get up to the top of that wall and figure out that you can. It's a very empowering feeling. So I recommend climbing for anyone at any age.
I think one of the things that's the most interesting about rock climbing as a sport is that there are a lot of different options and types, and the way your interest falls will give you more skills at any given discipline or more interest in like one portion of that discipline. You have bouldering, which is a shorter string of moves, maybe 12 feet at the highest, and each one of those moves, because the summary of the route is so small, is more powerful, more exerting, more strength involved in each particular movement. So most of how you train that is to like really try hard and to make movements that really challenge, how much you can muster, how much you can focus in small bits.
So as a climbing team, obviously it is an individual-based sport in that you're the only one, you're relying on yourself to get up the wall. But we are, very supportive of one another in the efforts of getting up the wall, or pushing each other when we're training, or just having fun with one another. I feel like a lot of kids too find climbing because they maybe haven't found that niche at school in the other sports. And this is a place for those kids to come and feel welcome and, feel confident and build confidence in something that they're really good at and something that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do at school.
Then you have sport climbing, which you have a much longer string of moves, so 60 feet vertical, maybe many more linear. And because you're doing so many more moves strung together, each individual move is much easier, less challenging per move, but more challenging over the long haul. So you're training endurance, of course, but the challenge is mostly to be able to conserve and to make movements more efficient and more particular, even when you're strained, by cumulative exertion. There's more nuance in the easier movements as opposed to bouldering where you're training the nuance in one move, because if you don't do it just right, you won't be able to complete it. I guess it's more analogous to, a marathon versus a sprint. You're training the long haul and making sure each individual step is efficient, as opposed to exerting for a short distance and making each step as powerful as it can be.
I think it's really important in this time in a lot of these kids' lives, being teenagers. There's a lot of outside pressures, and this is like a good place to be around people that are mentoring you, and you can tell that they've made it through where they've been, and they are keeping it together, and it's just a safe place for them to be, and I like that we can give that to them. Since a lot of these kids, like I said, they're teenagers and they're going through a lot of different things. And I just like that they can come here and kind of wipe the slates clean, so to speak, and dedicate all their focus and attention to this one thing. And have this kind of 3 hours of peace from pressures of school and parents and all that stuff.
You have speed climbing, which is different than the other two in that you always do have a competitor that's not just the route. And the training for it is much different than the other two as well. It's more sport focused. There's more, coordination and more explosion involved. And I think because it's different than the other two in the training and in the way it's scored, you get a different personality that enjoys all of those things.
Ready?
What's really great about the Stone Summit teams too is that all of the kids spend a lot of time doing, the base training all together, pushing each other, and you understand always that your competition is your own, but that your training comes from the support of others. If you're not able to train in a group, you aren't going to get the best result you can. And that's how we structure practices and training plans and every portion of the way the teams run. Kids are always paired, usually with another climber or with a coach or somewhere in between. But there's a lot of interaction and teaching of movement and skill, hard skill or technical skill, as well as the trust that's involved in a belay partnership or spotting each other. And I think most of the reason you get different personality types but interest in this sport is that the interaction between like individual reliance and the social component in the sport. I think most kids are retained in rock climbing because of the relationships they have.
Yeah, many people ask me, okay, Alexi, what makes you faster? Like, what's the first basics exercise you have to do to improve your time? Your body is like a real wheel drive car, which is your lower body is your engine or driving force. Upper body is a steering wheel, so you cannot be fast if you're just using your arms or core or whatever. It's just like body positioning, so your arms or hands just direct you, but lower body, legs push you up. So the biggest problem for everyone since they started to do speed, it's you have to train your legs. Yeah, a lot of squats, a lot of that's athletical exercises, track and field exercising. Talking about a lane itself, a route, if you ask kids to climb it slower, it's really hard. But if you go faster with momentum, you feel a little bit different. So it's kind of easier to use momentum or to use muscle force, which just makes climbing a little bit easier using momentum if you go faster. Since I'm coaching in Stone Summit team, I first of all have experience work with a huge group of kids. To me, it's really hard to adjust from Ukrainian coaching because we have a few people, usually like 10, 9. Here is more people, every practice like 15 or more, and everybody working hard. And I like the biggest thing that I like, kids in this team are working more as a group. They're trying to help each other every time. So I'm not every time standing with every single climber and to help every climber to how to use this hand, how to use this foot. No, if somebody learns something, they're trying to help another climber. That's what I like. So I'm trying to create environment where everyone can learn from other people. So this is, to me, as a coach, is the first thing. I want to create a positive environment to develop all those skills. Technical skills, physical skills, and social skills to be a more efficient athlete and to be a more maybe good person from this perspective.